What's it like having Geno as QB1 this week?
I think it's been pretty good. I think Geno's done a great job in being able to command the offense. Usually we always have meetings here on Tuesday, which the quarterbacks lead, and I think he's just done a great job being able to talk to us about the team. Russ is still there, being able to talk to us and get us prepared as well. And when we're out there on the field, every day we're just building chemistry, whether it's on the field, whether it's off the field, and just trying to be able to figure out what it is that we have to do to be able to turn this ship around, but also to be able to continue to go out there and do great things as an offense.
What's different? There has to be so many unspoken or unnoticed things that are different after 10 years or 6 years with one guy.
Well, the perception would look different because obviously Russ has played every single game for 10 straight years. And so as an organization, as a fan base, as players on the team, you don't know any different. You're just so used to him always being out there. But we also know that playing this game of football, injuries do happen. And we also know that Geno has a chance to be able to step up and help lead this offense. And I think for the most part, man, it's just being able to understand that with the game of football, how injuries happen, the next person has to step up and the next person has to be able to do their job. And so, things are going to be different. Things are going to look different because, Geno and Russ, they're not the same people. Geno is great at what Geno does, and so we're going to do what Geno is great at doing. Russ is great at what Russ does, and so we're going to focus on what Russ is great at doing. And so it's not really about how is it going to look, or is it going to look different, or is it going to look the same. It's just about being able to make things that best suit the person that's going to be out there in the game. And so for us at receiver, if that means we got to stay at the practice, then we do that. If that means we have to talk more in meetings, then we got to make sure that we do that. But really, the game of football is about adjustments. And that's really what it's about when you guys ask us questions in the second half. What happened? It's the adjustments. What happens at the beginning of the game? It's the adjustments. What happens if a player goes down? It's the adjustments. We have to learn how to adjust on the fly. And the team that's able to do that within the game, within the season, from beginning to end, in the playoffs or whatever, that's the team that's going to be the last one standing. It's how fast can you adjust? If the scheme doesn't look like what it did when we're playing against this team because what they show on film is different than on Sunday, we got to adjust. That's really what determines whether a team wins, loses, or how far a team goes.
With a player like Geno, who's, when you're backing up Russell Wilson, you don't really get to play. It's been 4 years since he started any games and a lot longer since he's been a regular starter. For him to come in and be ready and play like he did, what does that show you about him as a player?
Shows his mental capacity. Everybody is a play away from being able to go out there in a game and play. And, Geno's played in the NFL a numerous amount of times. So it's not like he's a rookie. It's not like he's somebody that hadn't gone out there and played. He's played. People remember him playing when he was with the Jets. People remember him playing when he was with the Chargers. He's been out there and he's played and he's been on teams. And so Geno knows the offense. He knows the defense. It's he has an idea of what he needs to do and the person that he needs to be in order to help lead this team. So, that's really all I got for the most part. I honestly forgot your question. What was your question?
Just kind of,
what did it show you that he was as ready as he was?
Oh, yeah, he's more than ready, man. I know he's eager to get things going, eager to go out there and play. And, like you said, when you're playing behind a quarterback, you don't really get a chance to be able to play as much. But when you do get your opportunity, shoot, that's what you've been waiting for. So you want to go out there and make it happen, and you want to be able to prove to yourself, not just everybody else. You want to prove to yourself you can still play. You still belong here. You're still as great as what everybody saw when you was growing up, when you was out there in Morgantown, balling in the Big 12, all the way to when you got to the league. So, we believe that Geno can get it done.
You talked about playing to the quarterback's strengths. What, in your opinion, are Geno Smith's greatest strengths that he brings to this offense?
What did you see when we played the Rams? Oh, I'm asking you a question.
Well, you can see the accuracy, you can see the poise, you can see the confidence in the offense.
So, I mean, that's really all you need a quarterback, huh? So, I mean, like I said, he could command the offense. And what I mean by that is, regardless of what situation that we get in, we know that he can rally us together to be able to do what needs to be done. You seen, even though the game was out of reach, you seen he was still able to scramble. You seen when he needed to stay in the pocket to make those throws, he stayed in the pocket to make those throws. If he needed to expand on a play, he did. If he needed to check a play, he did. Just because he hadn't had the opportunity to play for however many years that it was, like going back to your question, he still played behind one of the greatest quarterbacks in the game of football at this point in time right now. So the best part about being a quarterback, the best part about playing a game of football is you never stop learning. And so even though he might have not played, he's been behind Russell. He's watched Russell. He's learned from Russell. For how many years has he been here? Like 3. This is going on 3. He's been right there listening to Russell, seeing how Russell does things to where he can add certain things into the element of his game. And so he might be doing a lot of stuff that's different from what he did before when he was with other teams, but he understands the offense. He understands how to make it work. He understands the checks that need to be made. He even has things that he might want to be able to do or things that he might see. And that's the part of football that sometimes people miss. Just because you're not playing physically doesn't mean you're not getting better mentally. And that's the thing that, that I know about him is that he's gotten so much better mentally in the game of football, understanding how it goes. And sooner or later, that's when people realize the mental part of the game is really the hardest part of the NFL. It's not the physical, because everybody's great. It's how can you be able to separate what the fans are saying or what the media are saying or what the people on TV are saying or what you might say about yourself within your self-talk or what other people's opinions are. Like, that's the hardest part in the game of football. It's so many things that distract you from you being the person that you can be, to go out there and just really go play. But once you got that part, set in stone, you don't worry about everything else.
Now that he's back at practice, do you still get to spend any extra time with Trey Brown and help him out with anything?
Oh, yeah. I go against him a good amount of times out there in practice and stuff. It's great to be able to see Trey back. Nobody wants to be able to deal with injuries and stuff like that, especially when you start in camp and you get all the way down here to the regular season and you miss some games. But honestly, man, like for me being out sometimes too, like in games or even at practice, I'm telling you, sometimes sitting out is one of the best ways to get better. It might not feel like it, but on the field, you start seeing things that you normally might have missed. You see how much you care first and foremost when you're not even out there, you're not even playing. But then you start being able to learn, like I said, that mental part of the game. You start being able to develop tendencies and learning receivers, learning DBs. You see the game differently when you're out there playing. You're not just watching it, but you're trying to visualize and understand, like, are these teams going after the sticks? Are these teams going beyond the sticks? Like, that's how you further your game. So now when he's out there, it makes it look a lot easier for him. He's out there. He's being able to read stuff a lot better. He's out there. He's making plays. He's doing a lot of different things that I think coaches like, I think players see and players like. And, I'm just glad that we have him on the team. Obviously, he's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, so it's always good to be able to have another brother here.
Added Minkah Fitzpatrick right after you guys played them last time. What has he brought to the defense the last couple of years?
I think his game speaks for itself. I think he's a really, really great safety. Even when they ended up trading for him after we ended up playing him, I mean, you've seen all the interceptions he was making, all the tackles he was making, the plays that he was making. I think he's a playmaker. And, I mean, for the most part, I think teams have tried not to go after him. They tried not to get him in the same positions that he was when he was making plays, the way that he was making them last year and stuff like that. But he's definitely a guy that you got to be able to prepare for. You got to be able to know where he's at all times, and we know that he's a heck of a great player.
You mentioned that he watches film, or he picked up some tips on how to watch film, study himself, study other DBs and stuff. Who taught you how to watch film that way?
Man, I just answered that question. Honestly, man, I think it just goes back to the type of competitive level, like the state. It goes back to the competitive state of mind that I have just in general, all the way back to video games. It's funny because people be like, why you play video games, all that different stuff. But when you talk about NCAA football, March Madness, you talk about 2K, you talk about Madden, whatever it was, when I was playing like competitive sports games, I had to know my opponent. So when you go against somebody so many times, you start understanding their tendencies, you start understanding like the offensive plays that you can do, the type of defenses that you could do, but you also got to figure out how much do you have to focus on the other person and how much do you have to worry about just playing your game and doing what you do. So like I took that stuff serious, but it helped me to be able to understand like my opponent. Then you come in basketball, Coach Allen Blunt, he was my AAU coach. He really taught us basketball. And so now I'm not learning basketball. I'm learning the IQ of it. Who do I go to when we need a play? When we don't have a shot clock, how long do I need to hold the ball? If I got a mismatch, do I need to go 1-4 low? What do I need to do? If this person is really good at being able to be physical with me, let me call a pick and roll. Let me understand how to get people involved. Like, that's the type of stuff that I've learned whenever I was playing point guard. When do I score? When do I dish the ball? So now when you move to football, you're using all these same things that you're learning in different aspects of life and you're plugging it into football. Okay, I like defense. I played defense. I thought I was good at defense. I didn't like to tackle, but I was good at covering people. So I know coverages. I played Madden. I know coverages. So now when I'm out there playing, once I understand the defense and their schemes and their philosophies, it takes my game to the next level. When I was at K-State, we dealt with so many different defenses in practice. We had Coach Tom Hayes that played so many defenses. I found out their tendencies. Like, I learned what they did. My best friend played defense. I knew what defenses do. So, like, when I'm out there running routes, I understand what they're supposed to be doing. I understand when a DB is taking a chance and when a DB is playing his job. I understand by looking at a corner what coverage they're in. I know looking at a safety, if the corner likes to move around, I know what coverage they're in. If I can't tell them, I could look at the linebacker. I could tell what coverage they're in. But a lot of that comes from just knowing what to look at. If you don't know what you're looking at, you're just going to watch football. But if you know what you need to look at to understand the tendencies of a defense, all defenses are similar and the same. Like, there's not too many defenses just going to be throwing different stuff at you. And if they do, once you understand defensive schemes, defensive coverages, you can't really make up anything new.
Is that your go-to as point guard, the 4 flat?
Nah, it just depends, man. It's just it depends who I'm going against. Like I said, I know who I'm going against. And so it might have been people that was better than me, like playing basketball wise, but as far as like trying to outsmart me, that's where I picked up a lot of my game from. I knew what to do. I knew how to make things shake, and that's how we kept winning. We had a great team, found out how to win, but we also knew how to be able to say, make him shoot the ball. We'll lose letting him shoot the ball. He not driving against us, and if he drive, we're going to foul the mess out of him. That's how we played.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
We got